We light our chalice in gratitude for the generosity that sustains this community. Another year comes round, another pledge drive, and we are so excited to say we raised 98% of this year's goal. Yeah. Know that each pledge, each promise is a light that goes before us, illuminating hallways where children learn, warming circles where elders find friendship, shining on every act of justice we dare to do together. May this flame remind us that our shared giving makes this church possible, and that when we give, we kindle a brightness that outlives this moment, a light that leads the way.
Once a year, ever since Amanda knew the word Thanksgiving, her family would travel to her Grandma Bubby's house for the holidays. Even more than Hanukkah or Passover or the other Jewish holidays that Bubby loved to share with her family, Thanksgiving had always been Bubby's special holiday. At sunup, Amanda and her older sisters Caroline and Betsy, her mom and her dad, all began the drive across 3 states to join her aunts, uncles, and cousins at the house where Bubby's 3 children had been born. Bubby often visited them, but it was only once a year that Amanda and her cousins, all of them older, gathered at her grandma's house. The whole month of November, Bubby prepared the exact same meal that she had cooked for, well, it was hard to remember, but at least for as many years as Amanda's mom could remember. Without the slightest help from anyone, not even from Grandpa when he was alive, Bubby cooked every one of the dishes they passed from dining room to kitchen to living room. Bubby cooked one holiday dish each day, say her famous maple applesauce, alongside whatever else she was cooking for her own dinner or lunch. No single part of her Thanksgiving dinner was less than a family favorite. A tom turkey so heavy that Bubby had to recruit the neighbor's son to lift it and put it in and out of the oven. A stuffing made from her own braided challah, the tzimas of prunes and apricots that stewed all day with lemons and both kinds of potatoes. The chicken soup with matzo balls so light they floated, snowflake rolls, gelatin molds with 10 different layers that took days to make, a trout-shaped cranberry mold, honey cakes, and of course, enough pumpkin pies for everyone to take one home. But for Amanda, the best part of the visit came right before bed, her Thanksgiving wishbone. All year long, her grandma saved the wishbones from every sort of bird she cooked. Picked clean and washed, they dried along the curtain rod above the sink, a whole row of future wishes awaiting the arrival of her grandchildren. Somehow, even after Grandpa died and she only had herself and the occasional stray cat to feed, Bubby's supply of wishbones was large enough so that every grandchild could have one wish each night on Thanksgiving. "What size wish do you have tonight?" Bubby would ask, sitting on the edge of Amanda's bed. In her hand lay 3 wishbones, a big tom turkey wishbone, a medium-sized wishbone from a roasting chicken, and a 3rd wishbone from a little game hen. When Amanda's father's company considered moving them all far away, or when their cat Augustine hadn't found its way home after a week of being lost, Amanda chose a tom turkey bone. The chicken wishbone seemed right for starting piano lessons and hoping that Lorraine Caldwell would quit calling her names at school. Amanda picked the littlest bone for wishes like her first pair of skates and a ton of snow that might close school so she could use them. "Ready? Hold tight," Bubby would say. 1, 2, 3, snap. Whoever held the largest piece of the wishbone would have one wish granted, as long as the wish was never mentioned to anybody else. The Thanksgiving before Bubby died, as unexpectedly as anyone you wanted to live forever dies, Amanda asked her question. Bubby, I've always wondered, what are you wishing for tonight? I know we're not supposed to tell, but maybe, well, can you tell me what you wished for last year? Her grandma held out the wishbone for Amanda to grab and said, tonight? Last year? I'm wishing for the same thing I wish every year. And what's that? Amanda asked. Bubby paused, as if she thought Amanda might guess the answer, and then replied, 1, 2, 3, snap, as if that were the answer itself.
We gather together in joyful thanksgiving, whose bounty we share, both sorrow we share, both sorrow and gladness we find now in our living. We sing a hymn of praise to the life that we bear. As Unitarian Universalists, we believe truth is larger than any one book or way. Religion and science go hand in hand. Integrity requires freedom of conscience. Diversity is something to celebrate. In the struggle for justice, we come alive. Our highest aspiration and calling is love. We gather together to join in the journey, confirming, committing our passage to be a true affirmation in joy and tribulation, when bound to human care and hope, then we are free. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever path you are on, you are welcome here. Well, welcome to West Shore, folks. Good morning to you. Glad you are here this morning. This is the best place to be on a Sunday morning here in Cleveland. Today is Thanksgiving Sunday, in advance of the holiday coming up this Thursday, and for many people it is a time for loved ones to gather together as family, whether biological or chosen. And when families have gathered together over the years, rituals are going to emerge, as in the family cooking dance, multi-generational chaos in the kitchen, right? Everyone has their dish, their knife, their job, or the official stuffing debate, dry versus wet, inside the turkey versus outside, cornbread versus regular bread, an annual ritual of identity. Or how about the great migration to the couch? Football for some, napping for others? Or how about the annual walk? A slow, bracing walk around the block to make room for pie. Then there's games, Scrabble, Uno, Euchre, or family-specific games only played once a year. And then there's the leftovers ritual, breaking out the Tupperware, sending guests home with care packages. Do any of these ring any bells for you guys? Yeah. In addition, there also may be family rituals of remembrance, as in passing down a recipe, teaching the next generation how to make the family's signature dish. And what about looking at old photo albums? Sometimes a spontaneous ritual, sometimes planned. Or how about setting a place for absent loved ones? A silent plate, a candle, or a photo. Thanksgiving can mean so many different things. A time for joy, a time for remembering and grieving. Our service today for all ages speaks to this. It draws from the classic story entitled A Thanksgiving Wish, written by Michael Rosen and illustrated by John Thompson. May today's service add richness to your holiday experience. One of the ways we remember our beloved dead here at West Shore is with our Book of Souls. This book holds the precious names of members who have passed on, updated through 2024. While it is with us here today in the sanctuary, normally it will be in a place of honor in the foyer. Just go through those two doors. You'll see it right there in the foyer. When it's set out there on any time you're here, come stop by. Just see one of the many ways that we remember our church members who've passed on. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge members of our memorial committee who made the Book of Souls possible. Some of their names are already in this book. David Prock, Jerry Nazel, Jerry Devis, not in the book. Judy Striffler, not in the book. Andy Kosorek, not in the book. Debbie Elliott, not in the book. Dan Reber, not in the book. Dorothy Richards, not in the book. Marie Grossman, not in the book. Reverend Wayne Arneson, not in the book. Well, the folks who are here today, I've mentioned your name. Would you please rise and let us express gratitude for you. Jerry, Dan, Dorothy, Andy. Thanks to these visionaries whose legacy we gratefully carry forward today. Welcome once again. We're so glad you've joined us this morning. We're going to now greet each other, passing the peace. The greeting time will end with the soundings of the bowl. Let's do it. Let's greet each other. Come to this good morning, remembering the journey of freedom. The land we are on was once another's. we mourn the legacies of oppression. Healing is our way forward. Joy is the birthright of all. Joy is also the birthright of all trans folks. This past Thursday was Transgender Day of Remembrance, which is a commitment to not forgetting the freedom struggle of our trans siblings who suffer so much, so unfairly. Let healing be our way forward.
For their first Thanksgiving without Bubby, Amanda's family invited everyone to their new house. Really, it was an old house with 3 floors and lots of rooms that needed every kind of fix-up and repair. In the days before Thanksgiving, when Bubby would have been cooking and cooking and cooking, Amanda began missing her grandmother even more. "You never stop missing someone, Mandy," her father said one night as he tucked her into bed. "You sort of forget how much you miss them until something, like maybe Thanksgiving, reminds you all over again. And then it's missing them and sadness all over again until some other happier thing, like the fact that your cousins are coming tomorrow, makes you forget again." But the next afternoon, preparing stuffing alongside her mothers and sisters, Mandy could tell that they were all having a hard time missing Bubby. All night, Amanda's entire family, even her father, who'd never made more than frozen orange juice before, grated and sliced and measured, stirred, chopped, trying to recreate Bubby's traditional favorites to be cooked the next day. On Thanksgiving morning, the rain poured down. It was one of those gray, dark days when the lamppost never turns off. Right after breakfast, the cooking marathon began. Amanda herself helped peel the potatoes for the simmies, steam pumpkins for the pie, and knead dough for the snowflake rolls. Aunt Honey and Uncle Paul arrived with their 4 children before noon, and Sunny arrived with her 4 children. All of them were soaked from the rain. "Dinner's going to be a little late," Amanda's mother told her guests, "even though the other chefs and I have been working full-time since yesterday." In every part of the busy house, talk turned to Bubby, as if Thanksgiving couldn't begin without her. Maybe all of the cooking smells brought her to mind, the lemony, yeasty, mapley, oniony smells. A Bubby in every pan in the house. Right then, in the middle of the busyness, the lights went out. A fan above the stove stopped whirring, the TV went black. Everything quit bubbling, the thumping of the dryer ceased, everything stopped. What happened? Who turned out the lights? Uh-oh. "The lightning must have cut off the electricity," Amanda's mother cried. "But I didn't see any lightning," said Amanda. "I didn't hear thunder either." "She's right, all the neighbors have power," Aunt Honey observed. "Well, I'll get the candles," Amanda's father said on his way to the basement, and even though it was only 3 in the afternoon, it looked dark as night. "Oh, this is just great," Aunt Sunny said. "Raw turkey, hard potatoes, cold soup, soupy pies. Well, I suppose we can have crackers and applesauce for dinner, right?" "We need more than candles," her father announced from the top of the basement stairs. "We've blown the fuses. Between the stove, 2 ovens, the microwave, the dishwasher, the dryer, and all these lights, we overloaded the old electrical system. I'm afraid it's candles until the hardware store opens tomorrow." "But Thanksgiving dinner!" "Don't get upset. We'll figure something out," Aunt Honey said. "If only we had a whole month to cook, like Bubby."
Good morning. The 2 of us, Suzanne and I, are here to a special volunteer recognition. In case you are not familiar with us, Suhanna is our finance manager of the church, and I'm Vicki Ward, and I'm the current, this year's president of the Board of Trustees. We are the co-chairs of the Ways and Means Council. Doesn't that sound exciting? Or maybe not. But today we have a special project. We get to honor someone who has been especially important to our church through the many activities that we kind of get involved in, particularly Suhanna. This is a shout out to a specific volunteer we've worked with for some time, and rather than hold you in suspense, I want to say the name is Andy Kusurik, sitting right here. Andy, will you come up and say?
Right.
So Andy and Kathy joined the church in 1985, 40 years ago. And after heading up ushering committee for several years, Andy joined the Buildings and Grounds Committee in 1996, where he supervised various electrical improvements. In 1997, became the chair of the Finance Committee, which he still sits on today. And in 1999, he was elected to the Board of Trustees. But more importantly, in 2004 and 5, he was the point person for a major church renovation, which we all enjoy today. Andy was recognized for his work on there, and if you go into the main office by the copier, you see a plaque that has his name on it. And he does so many unseen things, like the lighting in the parking lot or the water retention basin in the parking lot. So we are so grateful for everything that you do, Andy.
Thank you.
And Andy, we're very grateful for all of the years of leadership, because she does all the things that we can't see. I mean, how exciting is it to be in charge of the parking lot retention basin? let me work on that one. Electrical systems, HVAC, but there's got to be somebody who is always there to help and to make sure that these things run smoothly. It's when they don't that we notice them. So, just as a thanks to Andy, Suhanna,
We'd like to give you this certificate of appreciation as a volunteer spotlight.
Thank you.
and probably just as important or as much fun, just a little gift card for lunch for you and Kathy at Joe's Diner. We understand that's your favorite. Standing there.
Want me to carry that down for you? You're welcome.
I've got to say something else.
Oh,
While we're doing that, I get to give a commercial message. Following the service today, we're going to have the community buzz for the Ways and Means Committee. If you're not familiar with Ways and Means, I always describe it as we've got lots of ways that we want to do things and ways we want to spend money, but if we don't have the means, nothing happens. So they go together. Our community buzz will be in the chapel at 11:30. Come in, and Suhanna and I will both be there. We give her on a Sunday morning. She's here Monday through Friday. She's also here on Sundays and Saturdays and doing all of those things, and she can answer questions. Our committee, we have buildings and grounds, pledge drives, stewardship, you name it. We even have the child care center under ours, and some of the representatives from those groups will be there. You can ask questions. Maybe you'd like to work with them. They would be delighted to talk to you. 11:30 after the service in the chapels. We hope that you will be there. Okay, one last, I understand we are going to do the offering.
That's right.
So if the ushers will come forward, we will now accept the offer and be grateful for it. Thank you.
Before anyone could speak, a knock was heard at the side door. Amanda opened the door to find an elderly woman bundled in her raincoat, clutching a small umbrella. "I saw that your lights were out. Is everything all right? I'm Betty Yee. That's my house across the alley. You might need this," she said, holding out an enormous flashlight. "Mom," Amanda called, "it's our neighbor, Mrs. Yee." With all the unpacking, painting, and new schoolwork, Amanda's family hadn't really met their neighbors. Her parents, clearly embarrassed by this, hustled to the door. "Oh, how kind of you. Come on in, dry off. We've blown the fuses, cooking everything at once." Mrs. Yee stepped inside and switched on her flashlight. Its beam shined across the pale turkey, the unbaked pies, the counters lined with all the raw, uncooked, and cold parts of dinner. "Now listen to me. I have nothing cooking at my house," Mrs. Yee told them, "so please, come cook it there." "Oh no, we wouldn't dream on imposing on your holiday plans," said Amanda's dad. "But I have no plans. I celebrated with some friends much earlier. Come, let's carry it all across the alley. You'll finish cooking there." Amanda's parents offered more polite refusals, but Mrs. Yee insisted, and no one else offered any other possibilities. Out into the rain, Amanda's family paraded in pairs. Some carried covered dishes, others held up umbrellas, and draped plastic tablecloths over their heads. Unfortunately, the tom turkey was too big for Mrs. Yee's oven. The giant pot of chicken soup fit across 2 of her stove's burners, but as for a microwave or an electric mixer, well, "Don't worry, I just thought of the perfect solution," Mrs. Yee said. "I'm pet sitting for the Reynolds family next door. They're all in New York now, except for their sleepy old dog, and he's probably not using the oven. They have an extra modern kitchen." Armistead, the bearded collie, couldn't have been happier to have this Thanksgiving company. Although the turkey fit into the Reynolds oven, no one could figure out how to program the thermostat. "I think it's a convection oven," Amanda's mom guessed. "It's too technical for this bird." So this time, they left a couple of the other dishes to heat in the Reynolds microwave, easy enough to figure out, and headed toward the door, ready to give up the turkey and stuffing. "Not so fast. Now it's over to the ashes," Mrs. Yee announced, pointing across the block to the house 2 doors away from Amanda's. They ate around noon too, I think. I noticed all the cars. Sure enough, Mrs. Asher welcomed her new neighbors and their turkey into their house. She listened to the story of their Bubby's legendary meal, and she led Amanda's father straight to the oven. And I happen to be an expert at basting, so go, enjoy your company, and I'll call you when it's about ready. But it was hard to cook in other people's kitchens, and it was even harder to cook things that they had never before attempted. In each of the 3 kitchens, Bubby's children and grandchildren were wondering if this really had been such a good idea. Much later, through the downpour, the family paraded back to Amanda's house with their potholders and umbrellas and covered dishes. This time, Mrs. Yee couldn't refuse their offer, and Amanda brought Armistead, who she decided should not spend the holiday alone. We tried our very, very best to create all of Mom's dishes Amanda's mom began, but well, as you know, not everything went as planned. It all looks wonderful, Uncle Paul said. She couldn't have done it better. Well, I know her gravy was never lumpy, Amanda's mother admitted. But because everyone was tired and famished, they forgot to compare each dishes with their memories of Bubby's cooking. There in the dark, surrounded by windowsills lined with candles, all of Bubby's children, grandchildren, and last-minute guests managed all the laughter and the storytelling and the second helpings that they had shared every other Thanksgiving around Bubby's table. Just as everyone began to lean back in their chairs, so full and satisfied, and just as the serving plates were passed one more time, in case somebody couldn't resist, another spoonful of something, Amanda started to cry. "What's wrong, Mandy?" her dad asked. All the eyes in the room looked to Amanda as she pointed to the wishbone on the platter Aunt Sunny was holding. "There's only one wishbone for wishing on. No one saved them all up for us little kids," she said. Both of Amanda's parents came to her side, but not before Uncle Paul could say, "Since you're the youngest of all the grandchildren, you should make the wish. You probably got the fewest wishbones of anybody here, right?" While no one disagreed with the suggestion, Amanda's tears didn't stop. She managed to say, "But there's no Grandma to wish with." For the longest moment, no one knew what to do or say. A few knives and forks were slid across the mostly empty plates. The rain suddenly seemed especially loud against the windows. But then, from among the ring of chairs, shoved arm to arm around the table, Mrs. Yee asked, "I wonder if I could be the grandmother. I mean, I am one, you know. 8 grandkids, but they're in Washington, D.C. Amanda looked at her mom and her dad, but they merely returned her gaze, as if only Amanda knew the answer. Finally, she reached for the wishbone and looked over to Mrs. Yee. "We'd all be honored," Amanda's dad replied. "You'll have to tell me what to do," Mrs. Yee said, reaching toward Amanda. "Whoever breaks off the biggest half gets to make a wish," Amanda explained. "But you can't tell what the wish is for, or it might not come true." "That sounds fair," said Mrs. Yee. "Oh, and since this is a big wishbone, you're allowed to make a big wish," Amanda said. "Now press your thumb here, and on a count of 3, pull." All the eyes in the room watched the wishbone, as if everyone were joining in to make the same enormous wish. 1, 2, 3, snap.
1, 2, 3, snap. Oh well, sighed Mrs. Yee, holding her small splinter in the air. I'm afraid I've lost. A smile returned to Amanda's face, but the tracks of tears still shone on her cheeks. You know what I wished for? She asked, nobody in particular. Amanda, you're not supposed to tell, her sister Betsy barked. Well, I can say this one, because it's the kind that can't come true. Anyway, I wish Bubby were here. Oh, Amanda, her father said, we all wish that. Don't we, everybody? And everyone sort of nodded and mumbled at the same time. Her mother said, we'll make another wish, sweetheart, one that might really come true. But I can't think of what to wish for. Well, maybe since we're all thinking about Bubby now, Amanda's mother said, she wouldn't mind if I told you a secret. Do you know what wish Bubby made every time she broke a wishbone with each of you? No, tell us. She wouldn't tell, and I even asked one time, Amanda said, looking at her sisters and her cousins to see if they knew. Amanda's mother stood tall again and pressed her thumbs together as if to break an invisible wishbone. Bubby made the same wish every time. She wished for you to break off the bigger piece. But why, Amanda said. She wanted to lose? Don't you see? Because her own wish was for you to have your wishes come true. Amanda thought about that for a long time. Now I know my wish, Amanda announced at last as she lifted her wishbone with its flat tip, pointing up like a make-believe candle in a flame. But I'm not telling. It's a secret between Bubby and me. And though Amanda never did tell anyone her wish, every year after that, her family, Aunt Honey's and Aunt Sunny's families, and even Mrs. Yee, who became a really good friend, each saved up a year's worth of wishbones and made wishes every Thanksgiving night.
Today's story is so beautiful for so many reasons. All the themes it plays out. The theme of the middle-class style of being independent and in your own family bubble and not having to rely on anyone else beyond that bubble. But then a perfect storm of some kind happens and you lose power and there's food to be cooked. So middle-class disengagement is transcendent. All of a sudden, you have a movable feast. And you experience firsthand the grace of neighborliness. And then there's this theme, the surprise of new friends, and even people who can function as a grandmother for you, or a baba, as I would say it, or a booby, as the story does, if you allow it. Or the theme of old rituals, taking on new expression. All of these themes and more. But the one that really gets me is the theme of loss, the pain of losing someone so special, the impossibility of recreating exactly what you once had. It's that moment in the story when, despite the perfect storm, the meal has been completed and everyone has been served, just as everyone began to lean back in their chairs, so full and satisfied, says the story. And just as the serving plates were passed one more time in case somebody couldn't resist another spoonful of something, Amanda started to cry. That little girl, Amanda. You know, growing up, I was taught that children should be seen but not heard. Ever heard that one? Ever said that one? Well, this little girl over here is going, yeah, I've heard that before. Well, that saying, children should be seen but not heard, that went deep into me. It meant that I learned to stifle my inner Amanda when she started to cry. So often that's what we do, especially when we're missing people we love. Let us embrace our inner Amandas and their tender tears, the children who still live within us no matter what our outer age may be. Those inner children, they too should be seen, and they too should be heard. But in the story, it's not just Amanda missing Booby, but everyone. Amanda and her mom and dad and Aunt Honey and Uncle Paul and Aunt Sunny and all her cousins, they're all missing Booby terribly on Thanksgiving. Most, if not all of us, can relate how the holidays remind us of loved ones who are not with us anymore, either by death or by some kind of separation. I want to say a little about one of these beloveds of West Shore. One of the beloveds of West Shore recently lost this congregation. His name is Howard Moore. We'll be celebrating his life more formally on Saturday, December 13th at 2:30 p.m., but his irrepressible spirit deserves recognition now also as we reflect on loss. Do you remember Howard? Remember Howard? For many years, you could count on him walking down this central aisle, carrying his bags to the very front pew, a few minutes before the service would begin. Wearing his hat and buttons, right? Completely, and oftentimes after the service began, right? He was completely enthusiastically engaged. He would sit right here. When he would get here just a few moments before the service began, he'd want to talk about stuff with me sitting right here. As the service is about to begin, I'm like, Howard, I can't talk right now. I'm focused. I got a job to do here. Howard Moore. Howard didn't have much in the way of material goods. What he did have was friends. All across Cleveland. This place is going to be packed when it's his memorial service. He had such a big heart, one that extended outwards in an embrace of all living beings. When I sat with him in the hospital a few days before he passed, he shared with me that he'd been an animal rights supporter since he was 16 years old. Animals are friends, not food, he'd say. I'm not sure he would approve of today's story. Right? There was depth to Howard. His heroes included Albert Schweitzer, Gandhi, the Dalai Lama, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Add to this list Nikolai Tesla, who was, he said, so far advanced, he wanted to give everyone free energy, had a heart of gold. Howard was also, how shall I put this, a bit eccentric. But that language comes from him. I'm just sharing what he told me as I was sitting there by his bedside, which was this: I'm eccentric, if you haven't already noticed. And then he laughed, that high-pitched, cackling Howard laugh. Have you ever heard the Howard laugh? You can't forget it if you've ever heard it. West Shore, he told me, is my family. I don't have biological family left, but West Shore is family. It's the best. I want to feed the people who feed me. In my next life, he said to me, I want to be an apple tree at the church. The people who fed me, I want to feed them and the next generation. He was in such dire pain near his end. With my own eyes, I saw the doctor unwrapping his leg like bandages. It was hard to watch. Then he turned to me and said, I'm accepting my death. I have no fear. I don't really want it. but I don't have any control over it. When the doctor was done and the pain had calmed down a bit, irrepressible Howard returned, and with a twinkle in his eye, he proceeded to crack a joke about his legs. Should have been a Chippendales dancer, too late now. If you come to Howard's memorial service, you will hear Frank Sinatra's song, I Did It My Way, which Howard explicitly asked for. And it's so true. You did it your way, Howard. You did it your way. What a beautiful life. One of West Shore's absolute finest. On this Thanksgiving Sunday, we are giving thanks, knowing that the loss of such lives can cut so deeply and how the loss can feel so poignant. And this is only intensified by the holidays. It is important to affirm with the great Unitarian minister A. Powell Davies that when sorrow comes, let us accept it simply as a part of life. Let the heart be open to pain. All the evidence we have says that it is the better way. And so it is. Our tears will help us begin to learn to live with Howard's death and with the death or the absence of all the people we love. Let us affirm that love lifts up all things, it hopes for all things, it endures all things. What never ends, despite death or absence, is love. Is love. And now, in the spirit of all-conquering love, I invite you into a special ritual of remembrance. In your order of service, you will find a very special piece of paper. It is paper that dissolves when you put it in water. Whatever message is written on it is thus released to the universe. Perhaps you would like to send a message to a beloved you are missing these days. Maybe it's someone you know from this congregation. Maybe their name is in our book of souls. Maybe it's someone from your biological family or your chosen family. Whoever it is, what might your message be to them? Our feelings may be complex, love and anger tied up into knots. Or maybe our feelings and message may be quite simple. I miss you. Or blessings on the next leg of your soul's journey. Whatever message you wish to send, you are invited to write that down on your piece of paper. And in a moment, I will invite you to come forward and place it in that bowl of water right there. Place it in the bowl, and your message will be sent. Because I believe that love cannot be contained. Love will find its mark. Death is no true barrier to love. Please begin. As you're ready, and now come forward as you're ready. messages sent. Please pray with me. God of mercy, Goddess of compassion, Spirit transcending over all, we pause in this moment to honor those whose journeys in this world have ended. We give thanks for their lives, for the love they shared, the work they offered, the laughter, the tears, their presence that touched our own. We give thanks for the ways their story has woven into ours, threads of memory that remain strong and bright. We acknowledge our grief, the emptiness their absence brings. Hold us in compassion, Spirit, that we may hold one another tenderly and find strength in our shared community of care. May their spirits rest in peace, in love, in the great mystery that cradles all beings. Though their journey has ended here, may their being be enfolded in the vast circle of life and death, of which we are all a part. So may it be this day. Amen. Amen. Do you think we can sing our closing hymn? Okay. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage and fathers of time. We are daughters of dust and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy and brothers of love. We are lovers of life and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Prayers and dreamings and breath and spirit, this is where you and I come from. Nothing is ever truly lost. Love always finds its mark. This is the great mystery in which we live and move and have our being. Gratitude. 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 Dave? Oh, chalice lighting. I'm sorry, I just get so caught up. Okay,
Move
let's
by the
extinguish the
moment.
chalice.
It's all right. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry with us until we meet again.
Oh, Jesus.